So House Speaker Paul Ryan was the leading cheerleader on Donald Trump's gigantic tax cuts. Now, he made sure that it sailed through the Republican-controlled House without a problem, and, of course, eventually it passed through the Senate as well with the help of Mitch McConnell. Now, we find out, thanks to some actual journalism, that he's been very, very well compensated for his role in handing over $1.5 trillion to the wealthiest Americans and corporations. According to a recent report on campaign donations reported by first the International Business Times as well as Huffington Post, just 13 days after the tax cuts were passed, Charles Koch and his wife Elizabeth donated nearly $500,000 to Paul Ryan's joint fundraising committee. Now, the Koch donations, according to the Huffington Post, were paid into Team Ryan. Now, they raised money for of course, the House Speaker, the National Republican Congressional Committee, the NRCC, and a PAC run by Paul Ryan. On the same day, Charles and Elizabeth Koch also each donated $237,000 to the NRCC. Now, the Koch brothers, of course, you know as the guys who spend millions of dollars bribing our politicians. They're half of the problem, right? They're the ones that are actually buying the system. But there are people that have made it so that you can buy the system, and the fact that the system itself can be bought is the other half of the problem. And you can see how successful they are. Koch and his brother David spent millions of dollars to get the new tax cut passed. They did it, of course, by lobbying and buying politicians. And now they're spending millions more in a public relations campaign in an attempt to boost support for the law, according to the Wall Street Journal. Now, why would they need to do that? I mean, look, if Republicans believe that tax cuts for the rich are the way to go, it's the best way to grow the economy, and they had public support on that, well, then why would they need a PR campaign? Well, it's because people are smarter than that. They're like, hey, wait a minute. We don't want you giving more and more tax cuts to people who are already fabulously wealthy. They know that it's not going to trickle down, right? And look, people are smarter than that, right? Most people, I should say. And they know that tax cuts to the rich is not going to make their lives better. In fact, according to a CNN poll that was done back in December, 33% of Americans approve of the Republican tax plan that was eventually passed. 2/3 of Americans saw the bill as doing much more to benefit the wealthy than the middle class. It's 66 to 27%. So 2/3 of Americans are like, no, this is going to help the rich. This is going to help me. Yes, the tax cuts for the middle class are in there, and they are temporary. They're actually a very small part of the overall bill, and they sunset. So these aren't going to last forever. But you know what it is? The corporate taxes, going from 35 to 21%. They cut these corporate taxes. These are permanent. So those never expire. Those never sunset. We are forever stuck with allowing billions of dollars to go unpaid by the wealthiest corporations in the world has ever seen. Okay? Now, here's the thing. It doesn't matter when it comes to public opinion. Paul Ryan got his marching orders from his donors. He got it done, and the donors handsomely rewarded him in the form of legal bribes. This is how our system works. Unfortunately, in any other country, it would be obvious corruption, and this wouldn't actually happen. But in America, this is business as usual, especially for the Republican Party. I mean, look, the only purpose of the Republican Party is to help the corporations. They are the corporate party. Now, they do so by deregulating industry and giving corporations giant tax cuts. Now, Democrats, look, there are Democrats that also vote for deregulation and giving corporations giant tax cuts. But as a whole, the Democratic Party is controlled opposition. They get paid to lose. By who? The same donors. They have the same donors as the Republicans. These are donors like from the banks, for example, Goldman Sachs, Bank of America. They fund the same politicians. They get paid by the same people in order to do the same thing. Republicans are paid to always be aggressive and to push corporate tax cuts and deregulation. And the Democrats, the weakest Democrats, are chosen to win so that they can give up in the face of Republican opposition and say, oh, what could we do? The Republicans had us over a barrel. We're We're spineless. We're not supposed to fight for anything. We just have to, our job is to roll over and to give the Republicans everything that they want. And we saw that in the recent budget deal where Democrats wouldn't stand up for DACA. They wouldn't stand up for reduced spending on the military. They wouldn't stand up for health care. They wouldn't stand up for anything. They immediately rolled over because it's the markets and the donors. And the donors control the markets. And they said, we do not want our bottom lines impacted. And when it comes to the tax cuts, of course, these donors said, we want less taxes. We want less regulation. And the Republicans said, yes, sir. And the Democrats said, threw up their hands and said, what can we do? What can we do? We had to listen to the Republicans. We had to. Look, Democrats aren't terrible at their jobs. They know their jobs. Their job is to lose. But look, most Americans agree with the progressive position, which means higher taxes on the rich. We're not saying confiscate all their wealth. Well, some of you are. But most people aren't saying confiscate all their wealth. No, it's saying, hey, maybe we should impose higher taxes because they have more money. You know, if you're making $2 million a year as an individual, you can afford a higher tax rate than somebody that's making $20,000 a year that can barely survive. That's part of being a society, right? Part of being in a civil society is, hey, look, if you make more, you contribute more to help the rest of society, the people that actually haven't been able to make it. Give them a fair shot, give them a fair chance. Not only that, but to pay things for the public good. For example, healthcare for everybody and education. Nobody is hurt when your society is educated and healthy. But you know who it does hurt? It hurts corporations that want to keep you broke and stupid and unhealthy, right? Tied to their menial jobs so that you'll stay for their health care that you can barely afford. But most Americans, again, they support fixing income inequality, higher minimum wages, and most importantly, they support ending the corruption of our system of money of politics. But for the Democrats, only a party that is paid to lose can constantly lose to these monsters, to these corporate apologists that all they want to do, not just apologists, sorry, corporate stooges, that all they want to do is cut your health care and keep your pay low while giving everything to the rich. And you know what allows this? Again, our system, right? And this is why we have to fight like hell to get money out of politics. And until we do, we're never going to get politicians to support popular policy, right? No, we're going to keep losing on every single issue, as we always do. And by we, I don't mean Democrats, who are, again, paid to lose. No, I mean we, the American people, will never see policy that we actually care about. So that's why we need progressives in office that aren't beholden to corporate donors like the Koch brothers. And then, when we get enough of those, we can actually vote to end the system of legal bribery that has a stranglehold in our system. And only if we do those things can we actually start to win, can we actually start to get good policy that's good for America and Americans and not just the multinational corporations. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.